My name is H.A. Goodman. I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Ladies and gentlemen, my Federalist article below. The wonderful algorithm won't even really let me tell you the title, but just click on the link, and it explains everything going on in the Democratic Party. And go ahead and click that. That's a very important article to me in the Federalist. Very proud of that article. And ladies and gentlemen, it's happening. It's happening. Doug Collins. Well, I'll just read you first from the Washington Post. They're going to find out exactly why the FBI did zero vetting, didn't care, had no worries, no concerns in the world regarding the Steele Dossier. This is the Washington Post. Republican Douglas, and then I'll get to the Daily Caller. Republican Douglas A. Collins, Georgia, the House Judiciary Committee's top Republican on Friday, released the transcript from an August interview with Justice Department official Bruce Orr, who was a conduit between the FBI and the author of the controversial dossier, partially funded by Hillary Clinton's campaign and the Democratic National Committee, alleging that Trump had personal and financial ties in Russia. So far, the Washington Post does a good job. However, it doesn't just allege that. It alleges and accuses President Trump, then candidate Trump, of a wide-ranging, absurd, nonsensical plot to have George Papadopoulos and Paul Manafort and even Michael Cohen speak with Russian agents at the behest of Putin, of both Putin and Trump, because the Russians were so fearful and they hated Hillary. That's in the Steele Dossier. It's a bunch of nonsense. It's written by somebody who is, it would seem that this person would be on narcotics or something. Illegal narcotics. It's so absurd. You read it, it's absurd. But anyway, though the transcript contained no major surprises, that's up for debate. Collins insisted that what Orr divulged goes to the heart of the GOP concerns that the FBI relied on the unverified dossier to secure surveillance warrants against Trump campaign affiliates, and an accusation federal law enforcement officials have denied. Now, that actually is all right. We'll leave it at that for the Washington Post. So the Washington Post kind of gives you pretty much what you need to know, but doesn't, and then it goes on, of course, to try to say, law enforcement officials. The law enforcement officials they're actually really referring to are James Comey, who leaked classified memos to start the Mueller probe and who stated that although there's evidence of violations of the Espionage Act, no reasonable prosecutor would prosecute Hillary. The guy covered up Clinton's actual crimes, then helped fabricate with Strzok and McCabe and Brennan and Clapper the whole Trump-Russia nonsense, all the while completely sabotaging Clinton's campaign because the failed cover-up with the Clinton email probe led to the Comey letter. Comey letter we found, the FBI found, or didn't find, 18 classified emails outside of the United States government on Congressman Anthony Weiner's laptop and Abedin's laptop. Gee, that's normal, along with transferring top secret and special access program intelligence outside of the United States government. He states this in his in his exoneration statement of Clinton. Anyway, by the way, really quickly, the wonderful David Pakman has uploaded a video of my 2016 interview on his channel. So he interviewed me on his channel. I have a rebuttal. I'm not going to dwell on this. I have a rebuttal that I wrote, a respectful rebuttal that I wrote to him in his comment section. And so if he keeps it, I don't know. You can check that out. He uploaded, because I was actually on his channel when I was on the left, and on a whole bunch of channels on the left. But I wrote a rebuttal to to him, very respectful, like extremely respectful. And I even, well, anyway, I'll read it to you after. So that's the Washington Post. But the reason I want to start with the Washington Post is that even the Washington Post agrees that the Steele Dossier was funded by Clinton. Like they can't. There's no way to get out of it. There's no way to say the Steele Dossier wasn't funded by Clinton, because it's public record knowledge that even they can't, sweep under the rug. But let's continue with this. The Daily Caller. Georgia Representative Doug Collins unilaterally. Now this is where the reporting gets good. Georgia Representative Doug Collins unilaterally released a 268-page transcript Friday of a deposition that Justice Department official Bruce Orr gave to Congress in August. Collins, the top Republican on the House Judiciary Committee, took the unusual step by reading a statement on the House floor and providing a link to the Orr transcript in the public record. The representative said his patience with the Justice Department has grown thin. Orr served in 2016 and 2017 as a back channel between the FBI and Christopher Steele, a former British spy who authored the anti-Trump dossier alleging collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. Orr's wife, Nellie Orr, worked as a contractor for Fusion GPS. Bruce Orr was interviewed on August 28th. 2018, Collins said Friday that he plans to release additional transcripts. Lawmakers have also interviewed Nellie and the FBI and Justice Department officials such as FBI General Counsel James Baker, who, by the way, agreed with me that the indictments were imminent. Now, the interesting thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that Adam Schiff states there's contradictory testimony between Adam Schiff and Bruce Orr. And first off, when you hear Adam Schiff talk about it, it's the dossier wasn't that important, or there was other evidence. We didn't really use the dossier after a certain date. It actually highlights it right here. Bruce Orr testified that he met with Simpson on August 22nd, 2016 to discuss information from the dossier that contradicted Simpson's testimony to the House Intelligence on November 14, 2017, that he did not meet with Bruce Orr until after the election. So Bruce Orr meets with Glenn Simpson of Fusion GPS before the election. Glenn Simpson, either if he's under oath, he committed perjury, but stated he met after the election. Well, of course, that shows that it was a setup from the very beginning. You have Glenn Simpson and the Fusion GPS meeting with Bruce Orr, a DOJ official in Obama's administration. Well, what do you expect before the election? This had nothing to do with national security. This was an overt setup. Bruce Orr also told lawmakers that he told the FBI about his contacts with Steele in August 2016, days after he and Nellie Orr met with the former British spy in Washington, D.C. Schiff claimed in a memo released February 24, 2018, that Bruce Orr did not tell the FBI about his contacts with Steele until after the election. The FBI knew that Bruce Orr was a conduit. Bruce Orr gave them the Steele dossier. Schiff lied about that and told the American public something that it was patently false, categorically untrue. These contacts, to use a phrase, to borrow a ridiculous phrase, they weren't just contacts. There was an active plot. It wasn't, look, this is so blatant and overt. It is so transparent. There is no, gee, you think this could have happened or that could have happened. If the tables were turned, they would not only be livid, they would demand everything get declassified right away. I'll give you a little bit of Maryland right there. You have 3 wonderful photos, but it's happening, ladies and gentlemen, slowly but surely. That's why you need to watch this channel, because I have been saying these things, and I have been repeating myself over and over again on a whole bunch of major topics and issues. The Democratic Party has thrust this country into a new Cold War, and it is so transparent and open and blatant and overt. It was a setup. They framed President Trump with a dossier that even the Washington Post, and that's why I started it off, even the Washington Post admits a dossier purchased with Clinton's money. Imagine if the tables were turned and an investigation into Clinton from the FBI and every other intelligence agency was started because of a dossier purchased by Trump. Think about that for a second. Think not even for a second. Think long and hard about that. What if the dossier were purchased by Trump? And what if Uma Abedin and Brian Pagliano, the guy who actually helped transfer top secret and special access program intelligence outside of the United States government onto Clinton servers, what if they were all charged with process crimes, but they couldn't find any legal statutes? They couldn't find any evidence of wrongdoing. But they were charged with lying to FBI agents that stated in text messages to their lovers, "We will stop Clinton." I tried to here and there kind of say, imagine if the tables were turned, but think about it for a second. You think about, let's say you had a Republican president, and Trump was running, and Clinton was the Democratic nominee, and this Republican president used his administration, his FBI, used a dossier that was purchased by Trump to frame Clinton and used that to get a FISA warrant and had the number 4 at his DOJ, the equivalent of Bruce Orr or whatever, speak to an opposition research company before the election and give this information to the FBI before the election. Do you think that MSNBC and CNN and the Washington Post and all of them, do you think that they would, believe that it was a setup against Clinton? They spent 2 years fabricating nonsense without even proving without even proving or giving any evidence that Facebook ads or Twitter bots swung votes in swing states, because she won the popular vote. So these Facebook ads were really strategic. They must have targeted, they don't even say that they targeted swing states. And actually the VP of Facebook said, yeah, most of them were seen after the election. So, and then it was like half of them were also against Trump. So it's like, all of this information is being revealed. It's all being revealed, ladies and gentlemen. The layers are being peeled off. Hannity on Fox News was saying, I never used to be a fan of Hannity, ever, until all of this took place. He happens to be right. He wasn't right about a whole bunch of things years back, but he happens to be absolutely correct about what's going on with President Trump being framed. Why am I wearing this, by the way? How do you go from Bernie Sanders to Trump? Well, read my Federalist article, Why Bernie Sanders Supporters Should Vote Trump 2020. Read the article if you're watching. But also, so it is happening, ladies and gentlemen. It is happening. Clinton will eventually get indicted because she committed crimes, and there's too much evidence of major crimes committed and of a whole lot of illegal activity and fraud. You cannot set up Trump in this manner, or anybody in this manner. And what Doug Collins did was just shed a giant light. He needed to do so because William Barr can't. If you want to ensure William Barr doesn't become another Jeff Sessions, then what you need to do is give him every incentive and give him the information to ensure that he acts, to ensure that he actually has information to investigate further. Now, he's already stated that William Barr's already stated that he's going to investigate Strzok and Page in the beginning of all of this. I think that Doug Collins has expedited all of that. So this is a major, major thing. And it's happening. It's happening. I've been saying it's going to happen for 2 years now. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to read you. I don't know if Mr. Pakman, the wonderful David Pakman, deleted my comment to him, but I'm going to read this to you. This is what I wrote because he replayed an interview that he had of me. I believe it was in 2015. It was in 2015. Late 2015. And I think it was, or beginning of January 2016. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm going to read you what I wrote. So this is what I wrote. Dear Mr. Pakman, please include... So he starts out by saying, well, Bernie didn't win. Kind of, saying that I was wrong. Insinuating, well, H.A. Goodman was wrong. Dear Mr. Pakman, please include the following Washington Post piece when reliving our discussion. And then I quote, DNC chairwoman will resign in aftermath of committee email controversy. Debbie Wasserman Schultz of Florida was forced aside by the release of thousands of embarrassing emails among party officials that appeared to show coordinated efforts to help Clinton at the expense of her rival in the Democratic primaries. That contradicted claims by the party and the Clinton campaign that the process was open and fair for her leading challenger, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont. And then I put the Washington Post link. So the reason that he didn't win was because he was cheated. That was the whole point of Russia hacking, allegedly. They didn't. There's no evidence of that. But the only evidence is CrowdStrike. And CrowdStrike was also linked to Clinton and the Democratic Party's money. And they gave images of DNC servers to the U.S. government. Why on earth would anyone trust an RNC tech company to give images to the United States government? That is absurd. But anyway, thank you. And then I was very polite. I said, thank you. And if you'd ever like to debate why Bernie Sanders lost in 2016 and why President Trump is a great president, I'd be happy to do so on my channel, since I've already been on your channel in the video above. Furthermore, I never meant to say anything personal about you. And if I ever said anything personally disparaging, this was not my intent, and I apologize. He stated that I was like, what did I say? I said a lot. In the beginning of his video, said I said a lot of bad things about him. The things I said about him were a response to his accusations, calling me a conspiracy theorist, which is absolutely false. I never stated anything regarding a person murdering anyone else. I never said categorically that happened. We can get to... if you'd ever like to debate me face-to-face on my channel, Google Hangout, I'll address that. He can see my RT segment regarding that issue. I don't know what else he's referring to, the Clinton email scandal. That's James Comey actually stated that she had top secret and special access program intelligence. NBC News. We can go on forever. I mean, this is public record knowledge. But anyway, I don't exactly know what he was referring to. I think it was the Twitter discussion, and then he did videos on me. But whatever. We had like a Twitter beef. his thing was that I had stated that Bernie was still going to win after he couldn't win. I never stated he was going to win or could win after July 5th when Comey covered up Clinton's crimes. So that's where his critique of me was wrong. In hindsight, there's a hashtag Bernie would have won. I was right all along. And if you look at the interview on David Pakman's channel, I'm on point. Sanders should have won Iowa, but anyway, it's like coin flips and nonsense. And then he won New Hampshire. Look, Bernie took a dive essentially at the end of the day. That's why that's one of the reasons Trump is a great president, because he does fight. He's bringing home Americans from never-ending conflict, despite the Democratic Party, the media, and establishment Republicans wanting them to stay there forever. He's signed prison reform legislation, criminal justice reform legislation, First Step Act. You can go on forever, but then I end it. I'm going all over the place as I usually do, but then I end it with, so I said, furthermore, I never meant to say anything personal about you, and if I ever said anything personally disparaging, this was not my intent, and I apologize, which I don't believe I said anything personal about Mr. Pakman, but if I did, I do apologize. I didn't, I was responding to some bogus accusations against me by Mr. Pakman on Twitter and in his videos. My critique of you stems from our interaction on Twitter. I no longer have a Twitter account, and your belief Trump colluded with Russia to hack the DNC. So Mr. Pakman has done a great many videos on Trump-Russia collusion, which is like a gigantic conspiracy theory. There's zero evidence of that. And people have been charged for process crimes. There's no evidence of that at all. There's a mountain of evidence that Clinton committed numerous major crimes, especially U.S. Code 793F of the Espionage Act. There's only one way that top secret and special access program intelligence can get onto servers outside of the United States government. Even James Comey said there's evidence of violations of legal statutes. Nobody's ever said that about Trump. And this whole entire segment is about the fact they used a dossier connected to Clinton. My critique of you stems from our interaction on Twitter. I no longer have a Twitter account, and your belief Trump colluded with Russia to hack the DNC, etc. Also, I never told my viewers to comment on your channel because he said that, he made some kind of reference to that. Sincerely, H.A. Goodman. Contact goodman78@gmail.com. Anytime you'd like to debate, just email me. And then I wrote, P.S. You might, being a Jewish American like myself, appreciate my latest piece in the Federalist. And then I list my piece in the Federalist. So, look, he made accusations of me, and I responded. And he has a viewpoint of politics that I don't believe is based on evidence. He has, throughout the past 2 years, addressed or helped spread the Trump-Russia myth. President Trump never worked with Putin to hack the DNC or share Facebook ads and or hire Twitter bots. That's absurd. That is a creation of a whole bunch of very corrupt intelligence officials who have lied under oath. There's zero evidence of that. Even if you read the intelligence reports, if we ever debate, I can ask Mr. Pakman what the evidence is. Simply saying, well, the intelligence community feels a certain way is not evidence. Or the media says this. Anyway, that's a whole other story. If you would like to debate on my channel anytime, my pleasure. Hit subscribe right now. I had to get to that because it was like a flashback video where he showed a video of our interview. Anyway, hit subscribe right now. Check out my Federalist article below. It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.